Hello everybody. Well, I made it. It's about, let's see, about 8:50 in the morning. I went all the way up and then ran out of trail, so I kept going. And what was amazing is how many animal trails there are, going to the center of the crater. Makes you wonder, what do they find in the center of the crater? Because obviously there's nothing edible. So why do animals want to come up here? But then again, ask the same question, why do humans want to come up here? Is it because we feel a longing, we feel a connection, just like the animals do? I mean, when something's getting ready to happen that's bad, animals take off. They can feel it, they know it. But yet, humans don't necessarily do that. They just obsess about the negative first. As I was hiking up here, I mean, if you don't have solid ground, it's not an easy hike. Little cliche there. But I found that if you find areas that have already been eroded from water or so on, if you stay in the center of those, it's a lot easier to gain ground because it's already been eroded versus walking or hiking in the loose sand and so on. Now imagine how that applies to life as well. You know, some of the best people you've met have been through some of the worst things in the world. If you were to ask them, more than likely, what advice they have for you, they'd be like, oh, I have no advice for you. What I know is what not to do. And then ultimately they would end up telling you, well, when I healed was when I stopped feeling sorry for myself. I stopped viewing the negative and started viewing the positive. Now, if we look at, the mental health industry, we don't necessarily take it from that approach. And then to make matters worse, if we can't figure out from statistics, the negative repeating the negative, repeating the negative, hence what psychology is based off of, if we can't figure out from statistics what we want to call it, then we throw drugs at it. And everybody knows that mental health drugs are like throwing a dart at a dartboard, don't really know exactly how it's going to pan out. People that I love, I've seen them go through it, and it's horrendous. But yet we still keep doing it. We want to force it instead of stopping and thinking that, hey, the way you heal your mental health is truly by starting to love yourself. Starting to realize that it's okay, that you've made mistakes because you weren't conscious. And once you wake up, it's similar to recognizing your shadow, if you will. I mean, your shadow, is always there with you. You can have a sun behind you. Let's see if I can get this to work for this analogy. You can have the sun behind you, and in essence, you can make yourself as big as you want. You can perceive yourself to be as large as you are. It's always with you. You can't get away from it. Now, think of your shadow, in essence, being your subconscious. What you consider subconscious, what I consider consciousness. It's here with you all the time. It's whatever you want it to be, whatever shape. You can make it into birds or whatever. It doesn't matter. Because it's all positive. Because you're getting centered and you're actually looking and paying attention to how you're acting. If you want to be something different than you are, then truly look at your shadow and see how you want to perceive yourself, because I know the true illusion or the true perspective from everybody in the illusion, once they wake up, this shadow is way more what we look like than what we want to perceive when we look in the mirror. Because all we see is the negative, or we see the ego, or so on and so on. Now, somewhere in a famous story, it says, you will not know when the time is coming, because it will come from the shadows, and you won't see it coming. Huh, imagine that. Because if shadow is a representation of your consciousness, those of you that are not waking up truly will never see it coming, because you're incapable of seeing it right in front of you. Because as soon as you wake up, you start seeing that while the drama that has happened is not that beautiful, and it does erode tremendously. But if you allow yourself to look past it and find the positive, then you're truly going to be able to see the beauty that you've been missing. By the way, see the water way over there? I'm on the other side of it. And now, look in the water. I know you guys can see it. There we go. In the water way over there. See the light colored? That's all logs from the trees when Mount St. Helens erupted. You know, how about viewing those trees in there as past experiences, past learning lessons? Because ultimately everything's a learning lesson if you find the positive in it. And then way back there you can see good old, I don't know, I'm not very good at this, but I think it's Mount Rainier. But please, you guys, why did my goofy old ass decide to hike all the way up here and film in Mount St. Helens? Well, the truth of the matter is, I did it because I love you guys. This is how serious I am about this. I've traveled the United States, talked to thousands of people, and all except for one couple agreed with what I said 100%. And every person says, wow, never really thought about that. Also funny, every person says, oh, you know, I heard such and such say something, you know, about spirituality and consciousness. You really should read their book. You really should watch their... I just chuckle and I say thank you, you know, because I understand they're not conscious. And also understand that the people who wrote the books, they're not necessarily fully conscious either. Because why in the world have we not all pulled together, those of us who are conscious, truly fully conscious, that only want to help everybody in the world wake up so that they can actually make their proper choice? Why have we not all pulled together? Why have we not found each other? Why does it feel like I'm standing out here almost like I'm an amoeba that fell from outer space and landed in a place that I'm the only one awake? In my heart, I don't feel I am. You know, I know that there's a lot of us, like I had said earlier. If you believe the Jesus story, then, you know, 144,000, that's not very many. And, you know, I recently completed the Old Testament because my father wanted, or my father had said that how could I possibly know if I haven't read it? So I've completed it, and something that kept ringing over and over and over again wow, it's amazing the amount of rocks I hear constantly falling. You know, they say this is still active. And you look at the dark spots behind me, you can see that, you know, a lot of soil has been freshly eroding. And here, and I think I might be standing kind of on a little lookout of rock, so I should probably wrap it up. But anyway, the reason why I feel there's not a lot of us that are fully conscious is because once you're fully conscious, all you want to do is help other people love themselves. How could you not? How could you not want everybody to wake up and see life is not the way you think it is? Because your brain, your 10% of your brain is in the illusion is looking at the 10% negative first. Think about it. For every one negative, I can find a million positives. Even if it's simply because all those negatives you went through and all the negatives I went through, we're here right now talking about this and trying to wake up. Because only a select few will choose to wake up. People won't want to give up their comforts. People feel that they will be judged by their family, and hey, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. You will be. You'll be judged by the ones who are the most negative in your family, because they do not want to accept in their brain that maybe there is a way bigger side of life that we haven't experienced. 90%. That's pretty heavy. And the thing is, I have biblical that can back it up. I mean, all I gotta do is look for the positives. And when I was talking about the Old Testament, remember, that was written about a very specific time and a very specific group of people. What I take away from it is, oh yeah, I know what God's capable of. And unfortunately, he's had to show his power over and over again in human existence, if you will. But that does not make me fear him. I understand. I understand why he had to do it. Nobody would listen. Nobody would wake up. And it could keep going on and on and on. I could keep showing you examples, one after another after another. And the only reason why you wouldn't listen is because your brain is trying to obsess on the negative. And if you agree with what I've said today, in a couple days your brain's going to try to close back up because it's open. And it's scared. But that's okay. All you have to do is reassure it. And let it know it's time to wake up. Well, I'll shut up for now. And I guess I'll head back. This is all I wanted to do, was come up here, talk to you guys, let you know that how serious I am about this. All the work I've done over the last 3 months hasn't been for any pleasure. It has been strictly out of love. I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing day. And please, start looking at all the positives. Start waking up. And if you have any questions on how to get past something you're stuck on or this or that, make a comment. I have no problem answering it. Anyway, take care, you guys.